Last year, Caine Miller and I teamed up to write about the then new AAP guidelines on infant sleep. Those guidelines recommended that infants sleep in the same room as their parents until they were 1 year old. We took issue with that. New research backs us up. This is Healthcare Triage News. When the American Academy of Pediatrics issued new infant sleep guidelines, highlighting a recommendation that babies sleep in their parents' room for at least 6 months, but ideally for a full year, some parents despaired. The Academy said that sharing a room could cut babies' chance of dying in their sleep by up to 50%. Suffocation, strangulation, or sudden infant death syndrome, known as SIDS, kills about 3,500 babies a year in this country. The Academy's previous recommendations that we place babies on their backs to sleep without loose bedding in their own cribs have been an undisputed success in helping to cut SIDS deaths by 53% from 1992 to 2001. But SIDS is still the largest cause of infant mortality in the United States after the first month of life. Yet the recommendation drew skepticism from some doctors, who argued that a close look at the evidence showed that the benefits of room sharing didn't always justify its costs to parents, who would have had to sacrifice privacy, sex, and above all, sleep. So last November, we noted that the evidence for this recommendation consisted of one out-of-print book from the 1990s and 3 old case control studies, none of which took place in the United States. We noted that cultural practices in other countries differ from those here. We noted that the incidence of SIDS has been greatly reduced from when those studies were conducted, so there may be diminishing returns to interventions. We also noted that it would likely result in poorer sleep for all involved, which isn't good for anyone. A new study was just published in Pediatrics that adds to the debate. As part of an obesity prevention randomized controlled trial involving responsive parenting, researchers gathered data on sleep patterns of new mothers. They looked at sleep duration and overnight behaviors of all the mothers, comparing early independent sleepers, an infant in his own room or by 4 months of age, late independent sleepers, in their own room by 9 months of age, and room sharers, still sharing a room at 9 months of age. What they found was that early independent sleepers had better sleep consolidation, or sleeping longer at a stretch of time, by 4 months of age. At 9 months, early independent sleepers slept 40 minutes longer over the course of a night than room sharers. They slept 26 minutes longer than late independent sleepers as well. They also slept much more at a time without waking up. Those differences were still seen at 30 months of age, even when the changes occurred earlier. Further, those who room shared had a much greater chance, an odds ratio of more than 4, of transitioning to bed sharing in the middle of the night when the baby woke up. That's considered very unsafe, and the AAP guidelines strongly recommend against that. But come on, when you have a baby in the room and it keeps waking up, that's eventually what parents do. I can tell you this from personal experience and now from empirical studies. So, to recap, when parents room share, their babies sleep less overall, they wake up more, everyone gets less sleep, and parents often respond by bringing them into the bed with them, which is very unsafe. Let me quote for you from the conclusions of the paper. While substantial progress has been made over the past several decades to improve the safety of infant sleep, the AAP recommendation that parents room share with their infants until the age of 1 year is not supported by data, is inconsistent with the epidemiology of SIDS, is incongruent with our understanding of socio-emotional development in the second half of the first year, and has the potential for unintended consequences for infants and families. Our findings showing poorer sleep-related outcomes and more unsafe sleep practices among dyads who room share beyond early infancy suggest that the AAP should reconsider and revise the recommendation pending evidence to support room sharing through the age of 1 year. We'll see if any of this can convince the AAP to change its guideline recommendations. Healthcare Triage is supported in part by viewers like you through Patreon.com, a service that allows you to support the show through a monthly donation. Your support makes this show bigger and better. We'd especially like to thank our research associates Joe Sevitz and Jonathan Dunn, and of course our Surgeon Admiral Sam. Thanks Joe, Jonathan, and Sam. More information can be found at patreon.com/healthcaretriage.